Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's workshop. Today we're going to be looking at planning our content for the month of August or the month ahead. My name is Sarah Thompson and I'll be your presenter for the next hour. Now, just to let you know, today's workshop is brought to you by the federal government program Digital Solutions, or ASBAD, and this is delivered to you here in WA, Queensland and the Northern Territory by Business Station. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Today's session is being recorded and the recording from the session will be sent out to you and will also be available on the Business Station website. If you are looking for the workbook to go with today's webinar, you should have been emailed it already. But if you haven't got a copy, I've popped it in the chat for you. So you're welcome to print that off, download it, whatever it is that you need. You're welcome to ask questions as we're going. Now, I've got the chat open and I've also got the Q&A open. So if you ask questions as we're going, I'll pop them in. You can pop them in either of those and I can respond to you there. Just a little quick hello from me. I'm obviously Sarah Thompson. And I'm the owner and founder of Online Social Butterfly. I've been a specialist trainer and advisor with Business Station for the past three and a half years. Yeah. I've run my own company for 11 years. And prior to that, I worked in marketing and communications for about 15 years. Do have lots of qualifications, which I think I'm allowed to call myself an expert. If you'd like to connect with me, I'm Online Social Butterfly on Facebook and Insta, and I always love to hear people's successes after today's webinar. It's absolutely my favorite webinar to run, and I've been having people attend it for about 12 months now because they come every month. So to get started, today's webinar is very much focused on you doing the work. So just to be really clear about that. So I will be guiding and facilitating, but you will be doing the heavy lifting. But if you do have questions or you're stuck, I'm always happy to help. So we're going to start I'm sharing my screen and I'll always put the page of the workbook that we're on and how long you get for each task. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start out reviewing the month of July. So I want you to consider which are your most popular platforms, and that's typically Facebook and Instagram. But if it's something else, you're welcome to put that in your workbook. And what we want to do is have a look at how these platforms have performed for us, because I always think what gets measured gets improved. Okay, so we're going to spend 5 minutes having a look at some numbers that we would like to be tracking each month in our business on our social media. So I've given you a little hint. If you want to use another tool to get your insights for both Facebook and Instagram, you can go to Meta Business Suite. I'm just going to put that in the chat. And that has your Facebook and Instagram insights in it, and that can often be easier. Meta Business Suite has a desktop version as well as an app. So you decide what you'd like to capture and what you'd like to be measuring moving forward. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that. So I'll pop the timer on. Remember, if you've got a question, pop it in the Q&A or pop it in the chat. Okay, so that's our first task for today. What we're now going to move on and do is we're going to look at what are we going to be planning our content around for the month ahead. Now, this is probably the most important task that you're going to do today, because if you just get this right, everything will be easier for the month of August. Now, what can happen in our business is we have lots of things to talk to our audience about. Like in my business, I do like ASBAS for Business Station. I do other government training. I have private coaching, private training. I've got a Facebook group, I've got online courses. I've got all of these things. Now, if I try to talk to my audience about all of those things, it becomes very overwhelming because they're kind of like, she sells everything and I don't know what I need. But also, they don't see all of our content. So on social media, our audience only sees some of our content. So what makes life easier is to have focus around your social media content for a single month. Now, you only promote one product, one service, one package or offer during that time. So I would like you to have a think about, during the month of August, what would you like to be promoting to your audience? So I want you to just choose one thing. Now, we'll just say, if any of you are a product-based business, please keep in mind that September is Father's Day. And with the kind of issues with Australia Post and things, it's a great idea to start promoting this through the month of August. So I want you to use page 2 of the workbook, and I'm going to give you 5 minutes for this task to think about, what is your theme for the month going to be? What will you be promoting and what does it include? So put some detail about it. So if you were describing this product to me and I'd never heard of it, put that kind of information in, because that in itself becomes a post. I'm going to set the time for 5 minutes. I'm going to let you go on this activity. Right. So I hope that that's given you some time to really flesh this out, because everything that we do now is going to be based on that theme that you have chosen for the month of August. So remember, this is an hour that we have together, and to try and pace yourself, don't rush ahead with the questions on each page. So we're going to start with page 3 now, and we're going to work through each one of these questions. So the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, what does someone need to know before they buy from you? So who are you? Why are you different? Now, this is really important because this is what will often differentiate us from our competitors. So I want you to spend some time thinking about how would you answer that if someone was to ask you those questions. Okay, so we're now going to move on to question number 2 on this page. And this is where you have to ask yourself, why are people going to buy this from you? So what problem does it solve? Now, this is really important to connect with it, because when people see their problem articulated on social media, they immediately think that you're talking to them. So I want to connect with why have I decided that this is something that I need to move forward? And I want you to have a think about trying to get into your audience's head and try and articulate the problem that you help them solve with this product or service. Again, I'm going to set the timer for 4 minutes. Okay, so we're now going to move on to question 3. And this is where we take them from a problem, giving them a service or a product, and the solution. So what I want you to connect with is, how does it feel when they've purchased something? How does it feel once their their problem is solved? Or what does the outcome look like? What is it that they're aspiring to get to? So again, I'm going to set the timer for 4 minutes to allow you to answer question 3. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the final question on page 3 of our workbook. And this is where I want you to address objections that people often have. So this can be around generally pricing or timing, but those two things often mask what's going on. And so people use those as excuses as to why they don't want to buy. So if someone says it's too expensive, I want you to think about how you would respond to that. So I want you to think about if someone gives you that objection, how do you respond to it? Or if someone gives you the I'm too busy, how do you respond to it? So again, I'm going to set the timer for 4 minutes and you can go off with question number 4. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the tasks on page 3 of your workbook. We're now going to move on to page 4. Now, these again are content ideas, and I want to going to prompt you with each one of them. Now, we're going to start with idea number 1, which is a testimonial. Now, I'm actually going to give you 4 minutes for this first task because I do want you to go to Google and Facebook and check out your testimonials. Ideally, you want a testimonial that is aligned to the product or offering for August, but if not, it should be aligned with you as a service provider or the way in which you deliver things. So I'm going to set 4 minutes for the first one and 3 minutes for the subsequent ones. So I'll set the timer, you go and find some testimonials. Okay, so that's hopefully you managed to gather a couple of testimonials. And remember, social proof is always such a great social media content. Now we're going to move on to idea number 2, and this is a little bit of behind the scenes that you can share. Now, in terms of social media, people love behind the scenes. They love boxing, they love unboxing, they love deliveries, they love orders, they love seeing you working at your desk. So I want you to take this time to write down a couple of ideas that will capture some behind the scenes in relation to your theme for the month of August. Okay, so we're going to move on to number 3. And number 3 is really a quick tip. And I have to say, this is one of my favorite types of contents to create because I love giving people quick tips. Now, quick tips, again, if you're a product-based business, you can relate to things like how to take care of your product, how to store your product, how to get the most value from it, alternative uses for it. When you're a service-based business, tips are brilliant because they actually consolidate your position as an expert. So what I'd like you to consider is what quick tips can you give people during your posting in August around your theme for the month? So remember, we're just fleshing out ideas at this stage. So I'm going to set the timer again for 3 minutes for you. Okay, so we're going to move on to idea number 4, and this is what we call a long post. And this has been probably one of the most interesting evolutions I've seen in the years that I've been working in social media, is that probably 10 years ago, because we'd come from that transition from Twitter to social media, we were conditioned to believe that shorter posts perform better. And there's been an extensive amount of research done that says longer posts, like over 300 words, will get more likes, comments, and shares. So it's not something obviously we have capacity to do very often. I try and do 1 or 2 of them a month. But what I would say to you is if you are doing blogging, that can count. If you're doing video content, that's great as well. Or if you're doing a podcast or something else like that. But ideally, I want you to think about at least a couple of ideas that relate to your theme for the month that you could write a long piece on. So this might be care instructions. It might be a bit of an opinion piece. So if your theme for the month is on a certain topic, what's your personal opinion around a specific area in that? So remember, we're just fleshing out ideas at this stage. So I'm going to give you 3 minutes for this task. Okay, so that's the end of page 4 on our workbook. What we're going to do now is move to page 5. And on this page, I've put in there themes for the month of August. So what we're going to be looking at is daily themes and monthly themes. And these are always great content fillers when you're a bit stuck for ideas. So I want you to just spend 2 minutes on this task, and I'd like you to ask yourself, of those themes, what would be relevant to you and your audience to share? Or bonus points if you can make it relevant to your theme for the month. So I'm going to set the timer for 2 minutes. Okay, so that brings us almost to the end of today's webinar. So I want you to think about how you're going to use this plan for the month of August. So this is really about giving you clarity and focus and planning out your content. If you had time now after today's webinar, ideally go, because all your creative juices are flowing, go and start writing your actual post itself. If you don't have time to do that and do the month ahead, that's totally fine. I would recommend that you try and spend a little bit of time, maybe on a Sunday, and use this content plan to write your posts for the week ahead. Or if you even find that's too much, you will not, for the month of August, ever be sitting down in the morning asking yourself, what am I going to be posting today? Because you now have a plan of attack that you're going to use. And this is really important because I want you to feel like this is going to take a load off you. So remember, this hour of planning is going to save you so much time and energy over the month ahead. So remember, this is your Bible to use throughout the month of August. Don't let it sit there and be neglected. You've put in the effort now over the last hour, and now I want you to use it. So just to wrap up, at the beginning of today's workshop, I talked a little bit about the fact that today's webinar is free of charge because it's run through the Digital Solutions Federal Government program. Now, under this program, you can enjoy 7 hours of personalised mentorship for just $44. And that's comprised of 3 hours of one-to-one advisory and 4 hours of workshops and webinars. Now, these are really about the federal government helping us, all as small business owners, improve our digital capabilities. So if you would like to find out if you are qualified, you have to have an ABN that is registered in WA, Queensland or the Northern Territory. You have to be running a for-profit business and you have to have less than 20 full-time employees. If this is you, you can go to the link that's on the screen in front of you, or if you simply go to the Business Station website, the ASBAS or Digital Solutions program is on the home page. You can't miss it. Now, we have a team of 25 expert advisors, of which I am one. Now, my areas of expertise are Facebook and Instagram advertising and marketing, content and Canva, obviously because of my background, any marketing strategy and particularly digital strategy. So if you would like to work with me as your preferred advisor, when you apply online, you simply put in your preferred advisor, Sarah Thompson, and you will be allocated to me. Once you've applied, Business Station will call you, they'll ask you a few questions, and then they will book in your first appointment with me or the advisor of your choice. As I said, I've been part of this program for about 3.5 years now. I absolutely love it being an advisor, and I know that my clients get such immense value from it. It's a total bargain. So if this is something that you're interested in, go and check out the Business Station website. And I hope you have enjoyed today. This is one of my favourite hours of the month. Just to let you know, moving forward, unfortunately, this class will not be run via Business Station. However, if you want to join my Facebook group, I run it there privately for free every single month. So if you go and find me online, Social Butterfly, and my group is called the Social Circus, I'd love to have you join me again. I've had people that have been coming for 12 months that love this class. So thank you again for today. Thank you for showing up and doing the work, and wishing you all the best for a great month ahead. See you later.